course. I'm
Yep.
going to mute myself.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to ACCP's CSR Marketplace virtual program, and specifically for today's session, the role of AI in personalizing volunteerism experiences. This session is hosted by Chezuba. My name is Jean Metzger. I'm ACCP's Vice President of Membership Marketing and Communications, and I'm so glad you are able to join us today. For those of you who may be new to ACCP, the Association of Corporate Citizenship Professionals is the premier membership association working to improve the effectiveness of corporate social impact practitioners. We connect our members to the people, knowledge, and resources they need to enhance the impact that they are having in their companies and in their communities. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone that this is just one session of several that we've hosted this week. And on the slide is our CSR Marketplace virtual schedule. And you can still register for the remaining programs. There's one more after this one. They are all being recorded, and we will be making the recordings available to everyone who registers. We also will be posting the recordings on our website next week. ACCP is committed to providing high-quality programming that shares practical and actionable insights. In addition to this week's programming, we have several other events coming up, including our monthly webinars and our Impact Measurement Summit in early December. Registration is open for all these programs on our website. We also have confirmed dates for our 2025 Forum CSR Intensive, which will take place in Atlanta, in Chicago. Which will take place in April in Chicago, and our 2025 Annual Conference, which will be in Atlanta next September. For those who may be interested in learning more about ACCP membership, you can visit our membership page for details on benefits and pricing. And for those of you who are already members, we encourage you to share information about ACCP with your networks. Member referrals are our #1 source of new members. You will find sample language and tools on our Member Go to Member webpage. And now for some webcast housekeeping. We've enabled transcripts and closed captioning for this webcast. You can click live transcripts to view subtitles. You can click the caret on live transcripts and select View Full Transcript to see the full transcript of the webcast. We've enabled chat, and we encourage you to use it. Share your insights as we go through the program, engage with your fellow attendees, as well as our panelists through the chat. We also encourage you to ask questions. You can use the Q&A feature to ask our panelists questions. And if you see a question that resonates with you, please click the thumbs up button and upvote the question. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter today, Sukhendra Rampali.
Hey, thanks, Jane. Hi, everyone. I am Sukhendra, founder and CEO of Chezuba. Chezuba is an AI-based corporate social responsibility platform. As an avid believer in technology, 4 years ago, we started using technology to increase employee participation in volunteering initiatives. And today I'm here to share our learnings and also some notes and tips on how you could also leverage AI to increase volunteering participation in your CSR programs. So without further ado, I get started. To talk about the big problem, as I said, like we looked at, instead of looking in the reverse as to, okay, how do we fix AI? We actually start from the problem of why is there a problem in the first place? So 23% of the US population volunteers today, like almost 1 in 4. So there is a clear culture of giving back in the community. But if you look at like 1,000 companies that we surveyed, we saw the participation rate among employees to hover somewhere around 8%. that something didn't match. The numbers are way off. If 23% of the population volunteers and only 8% of people in the companies are participating in employee volunteering initiatives, that didn't sound right. This is after all the volunteer time off policies, all the incentives through dollars to doers, yet there is a significantly lower number. And then we try to understand why exactly is this happening? What is there no intent? That's not true. You look at several researchers, reports, studies, and it all points to one direction. Employees really care. 64% of millennials won't even take a job where there is no corporate volunteering initiatives. 83% would stick with their current job if they believe their company is helping them contribute to social and environmental causes. And 77% people believe that volunteering is quintessential for their well-being. So clearly, employees care. Then why are they not volunteering? Kind of boils down to three major reasons. Relevance. Every single employee is different. They care about different causes. They're located in different places. They're just different people. Most of the CSR teams are very, very small. Sometimes 2 to 3 people CSR team. Sometimes it's just a one-person superhero running everything, right? So most of the time, CSR programs, as you are well aware, are created top-down. You partner with a few nonprofits, you try to run volunteering initiatives with them, but that might actually not be very relevant to your employees. While from a relevance standpoint, people are not finding opportunities that are relevant to them, access is another huge issue. Again, like we're talking about a 2-3 person CSR team, trying to find opportunities for a distributed workforce. COVID kind of amplified this. You have a lot of employees working remotely, a lot of employees spread across the world. How can a small team provide opportunities to everyone? And lastly, there is an awareness issue. Even though programs are being created, you put together some amazing CSR initiatives, some amazing corporate volunteering programs, and yet people are either not aware about it or they forget about it. And for that, we think like these are three problems where technology can really solve. And AI in particular has changed the game, particularly in the last 2 years or so. From a relevance standpoint, the idea of using technology here is to learn what your employees actually care about, something that previously we would have done manually, ask employees, through survey forms and try to analyze that data. AI does this much more efficiently and much more accurately. So learns what employees actually care about, analyze the data and find some trends, and build some programs with your partner organizations. So to explain this, I'm going to give an example. So today I'm going to use a couple of AI tools here. So here is some sample data. I can't use real data, but just use some sample data of who are the employees and what causes they care about. Now, this information is available to most of you, either through your CSR platforms or you can have some surveys. But the idea is can you find that data of what your employees care about? And now let AI do the magic. So in this example, I downloaded this CSV file. I'm using Claude. So Claude is one of those AI tools. ChatGPT is something that you're well aware of. You can use any of them. So once I download it, I upload this, and I'm going to give some prompts. So this is a huge set of data, and I'm asking AI to I'm asking it to find 3 nonprofits that we as a company should collaborate, given this set of employees who we have. And Claude analyzes that for me. And for that, it's saying like, let's kind of identify the most common causes. And it looks at what are here's a list of, this is what I think our employees care about, or this is what employees say they care about. And based on this, these are the 3 organizations based in Mountain View, California that would really, really align well with us. So first stop is like identifying those nonprofits, which are relevant to our employees based on what their interest lies in. And then we go further and say like, okay, these are the nonprofits. Now, can you help me create volunteering programs specific to these people? So here is an example that I've already built. Based on these recommendations, we've asked to design 2 customized volunteering opportunities with each of these nonprofits that will excite this particular workforce. So once again, based on the data, AI has suggested for each of them, like for Silicon Valley Harvest, Second Harvest of Silicon Valley, they proposed a tech-driven food drive challenge and nutrition education workshops. So for each of these, something that previously you would collaborate and work closely with your partner organizations, because the supply demand mismatch of what do my employees want and what can nonprofits accommodate, AI is able to do that job much easily, helping us be creative, identify nonprofits, identify opportunities, and kind of connect them both. While that's on the relevance, which allows us to find opportunities that are relevant to every single employee and then build programs around that. Access is something that we figured AI is able to solve it in a much more fruitful fashion than what we could do individually. Going back to the problem statement of there are 2 or 3 person CSR team and we have employees in, I don't know, 70 different locations. Now, how do I find an opportunity for every single employee that's relevant to them? And for this, I'm going to use another AI tool, which is basically our own tool. So I put in a city here. I'm based in San Francisco. And what the tool is doing here is crawling the entire web in that particular city and searching for volunteering opportunities that are relevant to me based on the data that we have about me as an individual. So as you can see here in San Francisco location, these are the bunch of opportunities that are relevant. And each of these, you find this information of, where is this event happening and, what are the details about the event that you can take part in. So that's on the access piece where there are AI tools today that exist, which allow you to find opportunities wherever your employees are located in. And lastly, on the awareness side, now, you've analyzed the data, you've figured out like what do your employees care about, you've find nonprofit partners and volunteering opportunities in each of these locations. Now it's about communication where employees are not aware about it or the communication is not interesting enough for employees to take part in this. So what we've done is we've created personas based on the data that we have about each of these employees. Who is this person? What demographics do they belong to? What's their age group? What's their gender? Where are they located? What do they like to do? And based on that, we create personalized content that is relevant to them. And then we send emails or send notifications to them at the right time. So once again, using an example here, this time I'm going to use ChatGPT. So I'm taking my own example, like, hey, this is the data that I have. And once again, this information most of you have from your HRIS systems, and you can also manually input it. But here is an example where this is Sukhendra, this is their job title, this is their city, these are the areas of interest for this person, these are the skills that they have, this is their favorite movie character, and then we ask AI to do a certain task. So I'm going to again take this stuff here. You could also just upload it on through spreadsheets, but on a high level, I've asked it to find volunteering opportunity based on these background areas, find 3 of them. And based on this, it helps me find these 3 opportunities, which are super relevant to me, given my cause areas that I care about and given the skills that I can add value to. And once again, after I found these opportunities, now I want to write a creative email to Sukhendra, nudging him to volunteer. Again, I have more information about Sukhendra, so I know like he likes Batman. So here is an example where the AI is using Batman as a hinge factor and try to specifically nudge employees to volunteer in these opportunities. I also go further here and say like, hey, given his job title, given his role, when is the best time to send this email? Or should we even send them an email, or should we nudge them on Microsoft Teams and so on? So gives me specific time and date of when is the best time to send an email to get the best response to this person. Now, in our case, in our own tool, we use this a little further. We look at the historical data of when people have opened emails and how did they respond. We observe data of open rates, response rates, and then accordingly optimize those emails or Slack or Teams notifications. But again, like using ChatGPT as well, you can draft these very personalized emails and you send them at a time that's kind of relevant for them. Just to share a quick case study of what we've done as an example. So here is one company which has about 1 million employees with operations in over 100 countries, and the company has about 35 subsidiaries. So they have a program which is related to skills-based volunteering. A program that's been it's a legacy program, been around for a few years now, and the company felt like they hit a ceiling on employee participation. While the company also wants more on this program to keep increasing, but in terms of the employee participation, they've kind of seen that not exactly a dip, but a plateau, that it's not increasing any further. So here's where we leverage AI to kind of pull that up. So the same model of awareness and relevance logic, we try to identify opportunities, those skill-based opportunities for every single employee based on information like what skills they have, what causes they care about, where are they located. And then we use that awareness logic of trying to draft these customized emails relevant to every single person. And we nudge those emails at the right time. And as a result, we saw about 141% increase in employee applications, like number of people who applied, that increased by a good 141%. But it's not just that. The idea is that when people apply for these skill-based volunteering opportunities, the nonprofits also have to approve them. And we also see the approval rate or the match rate went up crazily, because now it's not just people applying to random skill-based opportunities, but opportunities that are super relevant to them among this huge list of opportunities that are there. So that's one real case study that we observed, where upon AI, by leveraging AI, we saw a significant increase in employees participating and employees matching with these opportunities as well. So that's it, not like the greatest presenter in general. So I wanted to give you like a very brief insight into what we are seeing and the trends that we have observed, how AI is helpful in leveraging technology to get a very high participation from employees. Thank you so much for it. Like to take some questions if there are any. Okay. Yeah, Allison has a question. Are the nonprofits putting or agreeing to have their opportunities in the search? So Allison, these opportunities come from publicly available sources. So how that would work is if a nonprofit has posted an opportunity on their website, for example, or if a nonprofit has posted on, let's say, Volunteer Match as an example, right? Any website that they post, if the website is publicly available, it's the same thing as, think of it like Google, right? Where Google crawls everything and shows you an index of these are the most relevant results. So the search functionality works exactly in that fashion, where you're crawling all the publicly available information and kind of indexing and putting it in one place. So employees have access to view them all in one place and express interest accordingly. Hope that answers the question.
Great, thank you. There's actually another question, actually two more in the Q&A. So
Yeah.
I'm curious how this is different from, say, putting volunteer opportunities in Mountain View, California in a Google search.
Efficiency. So think of it as like this is exactly the same, right? If I search for, hey, volunteering opportunities in Mountain View, California, uh, think of from a user experience standpoint, I search for that, and then the results are actually not opportunities, but the results are websites that have these opportunities. So then I go to link one, look at all those opportunities. I go to link two and look at all the opportunities. And as an employee, each of these, the layouts are different. Some of them are real opportunities, some of them are not. So there are two major issues with that. One is just the efficiency of search, where employees have to go to each of these sites and find opportunities. So it just takes a lot more time. Be vetting of these opportunities, because a lot of these opportunities might be invalid. Maybe the nonprofit forgot to take it down, so there is the date has expired. So maybe the employee is searching for something on October 2nd. They want something that they can do after October 2nd, but the nonprofit hasn't taken down this opportunity, and it was September 21st, which is already over. So what, at least when we talk about our search functionality, what we do is we apply an AI model on top of that so that we eliminate noise. And we see a good 42% of all the opportunities that are available publicly are actually noise, meaning they're not relevant anymore, or they're not even volunteering, as a matter of fact. So that's probably the difference, where it's different than just searching it on Google. I think there's another question.
Yes, there's. So actually, I have a question first, if you don't mind, because I
Yeah.
know this is probably also on people's mind. In terms of privacy policy, security, is it safe given we're feeding our data into an external system? And what advice do you have for CSR practitioners in terms of thinking about privacy and security of data and any policies they might want to put in place internally?
Yeah. Honestly, AI is in like very nascent stages as of today. Not a lot of companies already have systems in place and compliances and policies in place. Most of the companies are drafting their AI policies. So it is early stages for most companies, but I would probably say, yeah, I think we're seeing your inbox. Someone's sharing the screen and we're seeing your inbox.
Great. So I have another question here.
No, I'm sorry. Like there's someone, like there is inbox being shared of someone's inbox. Like whoever's sharing the screen, we can, yeah, Barbara. I think.
Barbara.
Yeah, Barbara, you need to, thank you.
Yeah. So to answer that question, yes, most companies do not have policies in place as of today. One basic housekeeping that what you can think of is avoid sharing PII, or personal identifiable information. So whenever, like even in this example that I was sharing for relevance, right? So when usually we use employee ID as a number as opposed to the actual name. So avoid having any PII data that goes into these engines. But again, like different people have different perspective on this. My idea is that it's not bad for your data to be used in a model to be learned, as long as, because these models get better over a period of time if more and more data goes into it, right? So as long as it's not a threat to anyone from a personal data protection or a data security standpoint, it's all good. So as long as you avoid sharing any PII information on it, I think it's pretty safe to say like you're going to get good results without any internal risk.
Great. Another question in the Q&A, and this is for those who are on the line who are working at a nonprofit. So as a nonprofit, can we do something to make sure we show up on these AI searches? Is only website info sufficient?
Yeah, as long as the website is publicly crawlable, that is just enough. But when you think of Google as well, right? Like let's say if I say I want to buy shoes, there are a million sites which sell shoes. So which shoes show up first is also based on personalized recommendations and call it search engine optimization and so on. In this case, search engine optimization does not exist. So we are not indexing that, oh, one opportunity is better than the other. We're looking at all these opportunities as purely strict content or data. We're not prioritizing one opportunity over the other. And then we're putting the onus on personalization for the employee. So looking at it, we have some data about employee, and we look at all the opportunities as pure content, and then look at which content resonates the most with that individual employee. So it could be an opportunity from a small, really grassroots nonprofit, or it could be something from big. We treat it both equally. So summary, yes, as a nonprofit, you do not need to do anything more other than having that opportunity on some public site, whether it's your own website or whether it's a public volunteering site, like let's say Volunteer.
Great. Question, how do employees feel about this? Like when you're working with clients, what kind of pushback are you encountering?
Again, like we're very early stages, so I can talk about that particular company which had over 1 million employees. We explained to them. So the first reaction that we got is like, oh, I got like a very, very personalized email. Thanks for this. And they didn't know it was AI. They thought like, oh, the CSR practitioner basically sent them that email. And it's like, oh, wow, you found those 2 or 3 specific opportunities very relevant to them. Thanks for this. And now we did disclose that, hey, we're using a model for this, and they were actually quite happy. They didn't have, because I think from an employee standpoint, they looked at it as like, oh, previously I had to go to your site and then search for, there were like maybe 10,000 opportunities, and then I could still use filters, but I still had to find opportunities scrolling about 100 of them. I really like this. This makes my life easy that you just gave me like these are the 3 personalized recommendations, and I liked one of them and I applied. So there was a mostly positive. At least on top of my head, I can't remember any negative pushback that we heard from employees as of today.
Great. So in addition to ChatGPT, are there other AI tools that you use and recommend that our audience try out?
There is the one I was showing. The first one is a tool called Claude. It's from a company called Anthropic. Google has its own AI tool called Gemini. There's a bunch of them that coming up. So I think it kind of goes down to your use case. So when we are referring to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, we are talking about just a language learning model. So it's more of a generic tool, but there are several AI tools which are specific. Like Chezuba is a specific AI tool for corporate social responsibility alone. So we take like while the model is built on a generic tool like ChatGPT, but we talk about the specific context of corporate social responsibility and try to identify opportunities based on that context. Likewise, if you're writing emails, there are specific tools which help you write better emails. And happy to share after this webinar, happy to share a list of tools that are kind of relevant. But again, like you can literally ask ChatGPT for that, right? Like you don't even need me for that. So asking ChatGPT like, hey, what's the best AI tool for writing emails, or what's the best AI tool for making designs, right? And there's a bunch of them that have already been built today. But within CSR as well, the ACCP conference that we attended, that was amazing. There's a lot of tools. Submittable is building something, Blackboard's building something. So within the CSR space as well, there's a lot of progression in AI.
Great. Just a reminder to everyone on the line, please drop in your questions in the Q&A. We'll take them. There is one other one in the queue here. Does Chezuba integrate with other workplace platforms like Benevity or Cause, or is it more like a workplace platform itself?
It is a workplace platform itself.
Great. And what kind of AI features are within it?
As we talked about the same thing, like relevance and awareness. So how we would work is every employee that is there on the platform, the more they interact with the platform, the more data we capture about them. More like, think of us like Netflix, right? So you watch a few horror movies and then Netflix starts believing that you like horror movies. So think of that in a similar fashion. We look at what are employees observing, which opportunity are they going to more, what content are they consuming on the platform, like if they're reading a blog written by their CSR head on sustainability. And then we use all that data to build a persona about every single employee. We take that persona and then we crawl the search functionality that I was showing. Whenever we basically find opportunities by crawling the entire web, which are relevant to that employee based on their persona, based on the skills that they have, based on the cause that they care about, based on their zip code. We show them those opportunities, and then we have AI-based communication as well. We use some notification services, so we integrate with Teams, Slack, emails, of course, and then we send personalized communication. So, Gene, you would probably receive a Slack notification instead of an email notification, whereas Cassandra might receive an email notification, and you might receive it in the morning, Cassandra might receive it in the afternoon. The content, what you see, what they see also is different. This is one of the reasons why we are seeing some heavy increase in participation. Typically, we see about 57% participation, and it was not always like that. Without AI, we would probably seeing around 20-25%. With the whole AI game coming into picture, that has typically pushed up volunteering participation by quite huge numbers. We're on average, we're seeing about 57%.
Okay, so this may be a tough question, so I apologize, but it has come up in some of our other sessions. What about employees who are unwired? Like for those who are, manufacturing companies, or folks who have people out in retail stores, like
Yeah.
what do you see in terms of best practices on engaging them in volunteerism and how to apply AI to that process?
Yeah. Long story short, it's not an easy problem to solve, right? Like,
Sorry.
obviously, the corporate workforce is much easy because AI is just a tool, and the more data you have, the better it works. So it is extremely challenging to capture data from, let's say, factory workers or retail employees, since they're not interacting with any systems, for that matter, even a computer or laptop as much. So it is extremely difficult, and here is where I think CSR practitioners can play that role. Collect information offline, even if it's like in a store, get that in survey filled out. And once again, we do have a lot of AI tools here. You can just upload those filled out forms, and you get a spreadsheet result as well. There are enough tools, technology tools today, that even it's a manual form that's filled, you basically upload all of that, and you do get a more, let's say, a CSV formatted content, and then you can leverage AI tools then to do exactly the same. But there is an offline online interaction, which today is not matured enough, or the problem hasn't been solved, including by us, right? It's not an easy problem to solve, but I do believe like in a year or two, we'll be able to solve this in a much more efficient fashion. The challenge will always be about capturing that data, and that's where I think CSR practitioners will have to be a lot more creative on how to get that data in order to personalize opportunities for that specific workforce.
That's great. So I don't think there's any more questions, so I'm going to end with one last one. Can you share another example of maybe a client that you work with, or companies that you've been talking with, who are doing something really creative with their employee volunteerism program?
Oh, with AI or without AI?
Yeah, there's any company that you could just share like an inspiring story to our attendees.
Yeah, I think there's another company which has retails. It comes from retail background, and they have thousands of stores. It's a conglomerate. It has several subsidiaries, including retail, but they're also into finance, power, and so on. And what we've seen succeed highly for them, I think they were talking about 20,000 employees, probably 22,000 employees. And they also see about 62% participation. And I think those are really big numbers for a company that large. And what we observe, the things that they're doing differently. And they had quite high numbers even before they used Chezuba. So I can't even take really credit for that. Yes, we did amplify a little, but I think tool was not the reason. I think they had a very strong culture. But the biggest differentiator that we see between them and, let's say, 10 other companies is how well they gamify the system. So they use a lot of quizzes, a lot of games, a lot of incentives. Most of it is coming from the top, including the CEO. So let's say there's a World Environment Week coming up, and they have a lot of quizzes being posted everywhere in each of these stores, and employees can just scan the QR code and take a quiz. Doesn't matter which system it is, but they just basically take the quiz. And once they finish the quiz, they get nudged to take part in a volunteering initiative related to sustainability, and they're incentivized that, or a letter from the CEO or a certificate that's signed by the CEO. So I think the gamification followed by coupled with leadership buying, I think, are the major reasons. But that's one story that inspires me, or that's one use case where I see, like, for a company that large in the retail sector or a manufacturing sector, that they have a 62% participation is quite nice.
Great, thank you. Last call for questions. If anyone wants to ask Sukhendra one last question. In the meantime, if one of my colleagues could put our survey link in the chat. Thank you. With that, I would really like to thank you for joining us today and demonstrating this. I find personally AI so cool, and I know here at ACCP we're exploring all the different ways that we can use it, and I know our members are too. And so there's so many untapped opportunities out there. So it's great to get these insights, and also really excited to see how you're implementing it on your platform and how other volunteer platforms are implementing AI as well. Thank you to all the participants for calling in. Your feedback is important to us, so please fill out our very short survey before you log off. There's a link in the chat and there's a QR code on the screen. And with that, there is one last CSR Marketplace virtual session that starts this afternoon, I think at 3 Eastern. And all the recordings will be posted on our website next week. So with that, hope you all have a great afternoon.
Thanks a lot, Jen. Thank you.